That looks good. Hello, and welcome to Wheelie Blind, the podcast where we become jealous of the other person's disability, so we decide to acquire it.
I'm Neve.
And I'm Sam.
Thank you so much for coming back for season 2
Welcome to the rebrand.
in 2026.
Woo.
First of many. There's going to be
Yay.
so many more episodes in season 2 than there was in season 1.
You're welcome, Beach. Oh my gosh, okay, so this is the podcast that we planned to make when we booked our tickets to Queensland. Little did we know how much content we would have to share with our prolific list of listeners. Mm-hmm. I say we jump straight into it. You'd been on the Gold Coast for like a week before I got there.
Yeah,
I
like
think.
a week and 2 days, something
Yeah.
like that.
You were already kind of familiar with the Gold Coast's ableistic potential
Yeah.
before I arrived. Do you want to talk us through some of your observations?
Yeah. I do want to say, first of all, my one, amazing thing there is the tram system. It is very, very accessible. There's no lip getting up into the tram. It's flat. There are seats reserved for people with disabilities, and it doesn't just have a wheelchair sign. It's got I couldn't really see them, but I was told that there was also a picture of a person with a cane. So that was really, really cool.
Love.
And there are also announcements for every stop. It's not just a, sign, like a digital sign telling you what the next stop is. So that was really, really cool. Good job, TransLink. Okay.
Good.
So the first thing I noticed was, first of all, the lack of tactile dots and particularly tactile lines. There were some tactile dots places, but tactile lines were very much lacking, especially in the area we were in. We were right in surfers. And the other thing that I noticed that the tactile dots and lines that were there is that they were all black.
Tell us why that's fucking bonkers, please, Neve.
So, a little bit of backstory. The reason they're usually yellow is because yellow is the last colour you can see when you're losing your sight. So if you only have a tiny little bit of usable vision left, the last colour you will be able to perceive is yellow. It's also very high contrast. It stands out in all weather conditions. It's also easier for people who have colour blindness on top of things to recognise. It's just a bright, high contrast colour against the grey pavement. Black, however, for someone who just has light perception, that's gonna look like a giant fucking hole in the pavement.
Jesus.
And it's low contrast against the grey pavement. I can't even put it into words how ridiculous it is that they're black. It doesn't make any sense at all.
It's an oxymoron. Why are you doing it if you're not doing it?
But
you're taking a mobility aid, ? And then making it more inaccessible.
But it's giving blind people, why do they need to be yellow? Blind people can't see colour.
It is giving that.
Yeah, but my whole thing is, if they were going for we want it to be more aesthetic, make them grey. Because the black just looked tacky as hell and grubby and they're all covered in sand and shit. Make them sand coloured if you're going for it's a beach town. But yeah, that wasn't everywhere. A lot of the other places we went around the Gold Coast would have yellow ones or white ones, which again white is bad. Again, light
better.
perception, it's better, but it's just going to look like a blinding bright light in front of you, which is not helpful. They were also very poorly maintained. The tactile lines were just strips of, they weren't the classic ones that you'd see where it's pavement, pavers that are woo 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 wavy. They were strips of shit set into the pavement. So half of them have been kicked off. They'd clearly just been glued on top. So half of them had been kicked off. Yeah, so not great. And the other thing that I noticed straight away was that I was not going to be able to get around independently at all because there are so many very wide streets. I noticed that quite quickly. They're all really wide streets. And so many streets, even just to get, it was for a person walking at a average speed, it was a 2-3 minute walk to the tram station from our accommodation. and you had to cross over a very busy road that had no controlled crossings to get there. So it wasn't something that I was going to be able to do. Because one, I wouldn't even do that in the city that I live. Realistically, I would find a different route, but there wasn't one where we were. But also, I mean, one, the drivers in Australia shouldn't have licenses.
Woof.
My God, I've never felt so scared. But two, there is little to no awareness of what it means that I have a cane.
I clocked that the first day I arrived. We went to get coffee and food by the beach.
So we were just like walking down one of the main streets.
And it's so crazy busy. Like, and you and I are not people that love crowds anyway.
No.
So already we're kind of like, oh, okay, we're doing this. But even here in Aotearoa, I still think it's shit. But
it is so much better.
Wow, we got some contrast of like, these bitches are just gonna run straight into your fucking cane. I was ready to throw hands. I was so mad for you.
Yeah, I've never gotten close to like actually whacking someone with my cane, but I got close multiple times while we were in the Gold Coast.
Every time we went out,
yeah,
that would have almost happened.
And it was the same thing with cars. At least I have noticed a lot of the time in Aotearoa, cars will stop for me if I'm crossing at an uncontrolled crossing. None of that.
No go.
None. So, yeah, they need some awareness training, that entire city, likely country, but I'd say, no, probably not the whole country, because I've heard that Sydney is really accessible. But yeah, it was an interesting experience. It kind of sucked that I immediately was like, I can't get around independently. I think it was mostly disappointing because you assume you're going somewhere that's like a bigger city and a wealthier country, a bigger country with a bigger population, therefore bigger disabled population, and it was kind of worse.
Yeah.
Like, it just was worse. So, yeah, and it kind of felt like a relief to get back
Totally.
to hometown.
Do you think it's because it's an expensive area and also a touristy area? Often money and wealth do not connote understanding?
Potentially. Yeah, I think they're focusing on other things.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just clearly not at the forefront in the slightest. And it's a surf town. So their thinking is probably,
if you can surf, you're not using a wheelchair or blind.
no blind people live here and want to live by the beach. Like, they can't even see the beach.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know what the reasoning is, but yeah, it was a bit of a disappointment.
It was.
Yeah. And yeah, it really made me laugh that the tactile dots were black, because I was like, you could have chosen any colour.
Like,
and you went with
here?
literally the worst.
Insane.
The only thing that could have been worse was maybe like a mirror, so that the sun like shone off it.
Really?
Blinded everyone.
Yeah, it was probably more accessible for me than for you.
I did think that when I first got there. I thought, like, this seems fairly wheelchair accessible. The curb cuts were all really flat.
Yeah, and even if they were doing like work on the pavement, there was like a ramp beside it.
Yeah, which is not always the case,
No, not
especially
at all.
where in the city that we live.
Yeah, so that was interesting. Oh, it's kind of like Japan flipped, whereas Japan was blind friendly and not wheelchair friendly.
Yeah.
This might have been like kind of,
Yeah,
the opposite of that. Interesting. It's so interesting how these different spaces around the world have such different priorities.
Yeah.
And meet different needs.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you find, you didn't have any assistance for any of your flights, did you?
No.
No.
It was fine. I always prefer having assistance. But yeah, I didn't book the flights myself. They were booked for me. So, yeah, it was totally fine, honestly. It was probably one of the best airport experiences I had flying from our hometown to the Gold Coast, which was really weird because I usually get very, very panicky at the airport, and I didn't this time, so that was nice. Had a glass of Pinot Grigio and 2 bowls of chips at the airport, so I was happy as. So yeah, it was weirdly good. Flying Jetstar for the first time in many, many years, so I was nervous about that, but it was fine. The flight was uncomfortable, and like they don't even like give you water or anything. And my water bottle exploded in my suitcase, so terrible. But was all fairly uneventful. Yeah, but definitely do prefer having assistance because it just makes me feel a bit safer and calmer
Completely.
at the airport.
Yeah. When I stopped on the way to see my long distance bestie, which was amazing, I love you, and had the best Korean food ever, oh my god. I didn't book assistance at all for that domestic flight because I know the flight route. I know there's generally never stairs, and I thought kind of what's the point of fucking around with that kind of thing. And I really noticed it. I was really nervous for that 1 hour flight, which is, I'm a nervous girly when I travel, but that was interesting for me to reflect and be like, no, this one made me absolutely terrified and I didn't have a great time at all. Even though I didn't really need it, the fact that I knew it wasn't really there for me.
You didn't have a fallback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was uncomfortable. So I made sure I had it for the international flight there and back. I flew, let's name drop their airlines. I've flown Air New Zealand for a long time, ever since I've had assistance, because I know what their process is like. And we've all heard the Jetstar horror stories if you are in Australasia. So yeah, have avoided that since the Fall Out Boy incident.
Yeah.
Reference that episode.
Yeah.
Hi, where's our plane or whatever
Click
the fuck
the link
it's called.
up above.
Click the
No,
link
down below. Swipe
somewhere in
up.
there, you'll find it. So I flew in New Zealand there, and they were pretty great. I had the loveliest guy. Shout out to Bob at Auckland Airport. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Whatever, because he was so funny and lovely and chill and just knew how to be a person. I think it's the people that don't necessarily have the most detailed scholarly inherent understanding of disability. It's the people that are chill and nice.
Yep.
And just have basic empathy.
Treat you like a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it goes
100%.
such a long way, and he was so incredible and lovely. So that was nice that international flight going to you was way better.
Thank
honestly.
you, Bob.
Thanks, Bob. Love your work. Yeah. So now we're all in the Gold Coast because we need to talk about flights on the way back because that's a different... we need context before that one.
Woo boy.
Wowee.
Goodness.
My goodness. So one of my highlights of the Gold Coast was going to Dreamworld. I haven't been to a theme park probably since I was in school because that just definitely felt like something that was too much faff and wouldn't be fun because I'd be worried about being a burden or I'd be in pain the whole time and like, let's not fuck with that. And you said, do you want to do Dreamworld? And I was like, sure, I'm here. We better do it.
Yeah.
And you said you'd had some okay experiences with other theme parks before I got there as well.
Yeah, so we'd already gone to Movie World, SeaWorld, and Wet n Wild.
Busy.
Yeah, so Movie World was great. Loved it. Like, the rides are peak. But I didn't have, like, any assistance or anything. I didn't even think about that. We just waited in the lines and, you know, that was that. It was totally fine. We got to SeaWorld on the Saturday and we were going through, like, the bit where they're like, where's your ticket?
Yep.
Tickets, please.
Tickets, please.
And this lovely woman was like, hi, honey, because I had my cane. She was like, hi, honey, are you wanting to go on the rides? I was like, yeah, girl. And she was like, okay, you're going to go to guest services. As if you walk out of here, it's just to your left. Like, there's a ramp up into this big, weird circular building. You're going to go there, and they're going to give you a wristband, and that's going to be a fast pass. So you don't have to wait in any of the lines.
Oh, my
And
God.
I said, get the fuck out of here. We could have done this at Movie World. Why did I wait for an hour and a half to get on the Scooby-Doo ride? That was shit.
Oh.
But so, yeah, we got fast pass wristbands and yeah, it was incredible. Like, I didn't have to wait in any lines. We only ended up staying until like 2 p.m. because we'd done everything by then. And I got my hair braided, which was so much fun.
Oh, she looks so cute.
It was so fun, but it got so itchy. But now that's one of the goals for 2026 is teaching myself how to do that. But yeah, so I knew just from that experience that experience at SeaWorld that the disability support services were really, really good. And I, you know, Dreamworld is a different company to Movie World and SeaWorld and Wet n Wild, but I assumed like Dreamworld's a little bit richer. So it's probably better. I said to Sam, like, they're really, really good. They, like, the parks all have wheelchairs that you can grab for the day. And yeah, please come and go on fun rides with me.
Oh my gosh.
We'll go scream together.
Huh? Yeah, so I was blown away, and I genuinely can't speak highly enough of the assistance that we, even just like the nice fucking staff that we encountered at Dreamworld the whole day.
Yeah.
My qualm was that we did have to pay to hire the wheelchair, but it was $5, so it's doable.
It's still a little bit like, come on,
yeah,
dang.
it's a little bit mean.
But it was a like nice wheelchair.
It was a new wheelchair. It was really comfortable, and it makes a difference. An old crabby wheelchair is a whole different experience to like a nice new one.
Like, I was surprised when it came out. I was like, oh,
yeah, she's
this thing's
nice
lush.
too. And she actually was kind of manual, so I could have done some wheeling myself, but it feels like it's manual in a way that's not designed to actually be used manually. Because it's an awkward, like, if you do want to move the rims of the wheels, it's a weird angle that your arms are at.
Yeah, so it's more like if you have to, you can, but it's not ideal.
Yeah, and I hate being wheeled as well. It's a whole vulnerability, lack of agency, yucky situation, but that's kind of the lesser of two evils, and it ended up being absolutely fine. And we got the wheelchair, and then we went to guest services or health services or something.
Oh, like, it was called like accessibility and something.
It was in this kind of like healthy clinic place.
It looked like a sick bay.
It was really giving sick bay.
Smelled like a sick bay too.
It really did. And we just had this, like, Nevs went in, guns blazing. I was like, hello, please, you do this. Like, please.
I was like, I'm blind, I want a wristband.
But basically, in a very nice way, that's what
in a very nice way. And like, hey, this was our experience at one of the other parks. Is this something that you guys do? And they very kindly explained to us that, like, we don't have a wristband. It doesn't work as a fast pass, but we'll give you a card and like this piece of paper. And basically they will give you a time that you can do the ride based on like the wait time-ish. It was always a little bit quicker than the actual wait time was at that point.
Yeah.
And then you can just come back at that time through the fast pass lane so that you don't actually have to stand and wait in the line. So it meant that we could go and like get a frozen Coke or just like wander around, figure out what ride we wanted to do next while we were waiting for our time for the ride, which just made the experience so much nicer.
Oh, so much better.
Because like I get so overstimulated in those rides and those lines for the rides, and like it's not fun. So yeah, it was awesome.
It was so cool. And there was this moment of, oh my God, you're an ally, when I think she said to me, can you go on all the rides? And I was like, yeah. I just used the wheelchair and then she was like, oh, chronic fatigue. And you and I were like, oh my God! It was wild.
I'm so glad you talked about that, because
that was sick. And then there was this interaction where I didn't quite understand why they were asking me if I could go down 160 stairs if I had to. And I was like, you know, not really, dog. And they're like, no, but if you like really, really had to, like if a ride broke down. And I was like, oh, they're trying to get me to say yes so that I can go on all the rides. And I was like, totally.
They were literally like, you can take days if you want to.
That is exactly what they said.
Yeah, like you can take all the time you want. It's basically just if you get to the top of, what was it, the Tower of Terror, and it...
You know what, now that I think back, I sure as hell would have fallen off and died. There is no way I could have done
that.
But also, how are
you getting off that ride to be like, let me go down the stairs?
Can you imagine just being like, oh yeah, we have to climb down here now?
Like, leave me up.
Brisbane.
Leave me up until you fix the ride. I'll just chill. I'm going to vomit for 45 minutes and then I'll be fine.
Anyway, they were so terrific. Also, we went into that clinic. We treated it like a fucking dormitory. We went in there like 3 times throughout the day to reapply sunscreen.
I forgot my sunscreen.
And they were just so chill. They just let us like hang out, reapply sunscreen, use the disabled toilet. Like,
yeah, it was great.
It was so fucking good. Also, turns out roller coasters, one of my favorite things ever. The fear of getting on a roller coaster, nothing like the fear of getting on a domestic flight. So it turns out I'm not afraid of everything, just afraid of being perceived as disabled.
Yeah. But once you're sitting on a roller coaster, no one can tell.
We're all being thrown around upside down and screaming our heads off and, oh my God, crying. Like every time they'd go fast and I just have tears streaming down my face because the wind is so fast.
So
much yeah, all in all, so much fun. Got wheeled by my friends. Terrific, amazing, bonding experience. Cannot rate theme park enough. Thank you, Dreamworld Gold Coast. Yeah. You really made that.
And the little like disabled ID cards that they gave us are valid for a year. So if we were to go back, we wouldn't have to go and do that whole process again.
Yeah.
Which is so cool.
Because so often you have to keep reapplying for the exact same assistance, even though you have a condition that's going to last your whole life. Yeah. So like that's pretty sick too. Tell us about the wee girl with a cane.
Oh, okay. So we saw her earlier in the day. I couldn't see her because she was far away, but the sighted people saw her. There was a wee girl. She would have been probably what, like 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she had a cane, and it was everyone that I was with was like, Neve. Look. I was like, I can't see, but okay. But then later when we were getting off a ride, she'd been on the same ride, like in a seat behind us, and everyone that I was with was like, get your cane out. And so I got my cane out, and then I'm gonna cry telling this story as we were like walking out, like down the ramp off the ride. This wee girl's sister, like older sister, kept looking back at me being like, and like looking at her sister's cane, and I heard her dad saying like, look, that lady has a cane too, just like you, like, isn't that so cool? And I was like, oh my god, I'm living.
You're healing your inner child.
Yeah, it was so lovely. Oh
And we saw another woman with a cane heading back to our hotel at one point as well.
yeah,
So
and Sam had to like
I was in the
sheep
middle,
herd
like,
me out of the way.
how do I navigate two blind people walking towards each other?
But I was there for 15 days. Those were the 2 people with canes I saw.
Yeah.
So
But they are there.
They're
and
there.
They're in a place that's not helpful for them.
No,
No,
but
no,
like
no.
yeah, not many.
No.
Yeah, but no, seeing that wee girl with her cane was so lovely.
Oh, so cute.
So cute.
So. Ha.
I will say, this story begins on the day we went to Dreamworld, which was
Yes.
the 30th.
Yes.
I woke up with a little bit of like a crampy feeling in my right hip, which is not unusual. I have it like very randomly, not too often. It just feels like a little bit crampy. When I wake up in the mornings, it usually like settles and goes away and I don't even notice it anymore. I was still noticing it by the time it was like 2 p.m. when we were at Dreamworld. And so I lay flat on the ground just because there were no chairs. So we were all sitting on the floor anyway. Mm-hmm. And while I was waiting for my fish and chips, I lay flat on the ground and did some like stretches. I felt a clunk. Pain's gone. Yay. And it wasn't even really pain at that point. It was just uncomfy. So I was like, yay, sorted it.
She's back in place. Let's go.
Same thing happened Wednesday. I woke up with that same discomfort and I immediately lay down on the ground. This is on New Year's Eve. Mm-hmm. Lay down on the ground right next to the bed and did the same thing that I'd done the day before. Felt a clunk. Felt better. Beautiful. We had a lovely charcuterie by the pool.
We went out for New Year's.
Yeah,
we
went to a steampunk bar, did some dancing, went down to the beach and saw the fireworks. It was lovely. I said goodnight to Sam and hugged her and said Happy New Year, and she pulled back and said Happy Christmas.
Can't believe you're blowing up my spot, but that happened. That's the level we were at.
It was hysterical.
And then we laughed for about 14 minutes before we could go to bed.
Yeah, and then
Delusional.
went to bed. I was very excited about, waking up the next morning, starting the new year. I was going to mood board all day on Pinterest.
We were going to go see the Batties in the evening.
You
which
see the
we
bats.
did.
Yep. But so I woke up that morning and the pain was pain by that point in my right hip. I remember getting out of my bed to go into the lounge to see Sam, and I kind of fell forward and had to lean on the bed, which was a little bit like, wow. So I lay down on the floor and did my stretches. No clunk and no feeling better. So I was like, all right, I guess this is 2026.
This is this.
I guess
Happy
this
New
is
Year.
today. And in certain positions, I wouldn't feel any discomfort or pain or anything. But it kind of continued to escalate throughout the day. And I have always known about my body that if I lie flat on the ground with like legs stretched out, like completely on a hard surface, I will eventually feel like a clunk in kind of my hip pelvis area, and it will hurt, and I'll struggle to get up smoothly. So after the bats, we had a very slow walk down to the bats because at that point it was kind of like a pulsating pain, kind of in the middle of my hip. And so when I said to Sam when we were watching the bats fly in,
Which was amazing. I
it
sobbed.
was so lovely.
beautiful.
It was so cute. So many betties.
We got bats and sharks in the same night.
Yeah, we saw a shark. That was lit.
Wow.
Did not think I'd see a shark. That was really cool.
Amazing.
But so the pain was like, yeah, pulsating while we were sitting watching the bats. I said to Sam, I think I'm just going to have to go and lie flat on the ground and wait for that like really painful clunk. But I think that's gonna be what fixes it. So we slow walked back to our accommodation, and I made the biggest mistake of my life and lay down flat on the ground.
Oh God, little did we know it was a mistake.
So I lay there for, maybe 10 minutes, and then...
Oh, suddenly recounting this got really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the pain just started getting really, really severe. The clunk that I was speaking about didn't happen. And I started involuntarily crying because of the pain. So I was like, all right, I need to get up. This isn't working. It's making the pain worse. I couldn't get up. And yeah, I was stuck on the ground for an hour and a half.
Maybe longer.
Yeah. Like, I've never, like, screamed in pain.
I will tell you, I hear that at night sometimes. It was fucking horrifying.
Yeah. So I'm going to brush past this because I'm going to cry.
Yeah,
so,
we need to move on from that second. But it was horrible.
It was really, really awful. We decided that this was an emergency department situation.
Yeah, let's get it.
So we tried to call all of the people we know who are New Zealanders that live in Australia. Or
shout out to those of you that
needed healthcare in Australia to be like,
desperate messages from me.
is this going to cost me because we didn't get fucking travel insurance?
That is so unhinged of you, my darling. I love you, but my God.
Oh, I know, but I was like, it's Australia. Like, it's fine. And it was.
And we have the reciprocal agreement. Thank you.
Thank you, our governments, for being friends. Thank you so much. So, you're probably wondering why this podcast is named what it is. Your girl got to the emergency department and got put in a wheelchair.
She came for my gig. She came for my gig. And you absolutely fucking hated it.
Hated it.
It.
Hated it. It was awful. I wanted to stand up and be in pain. Like, I couldn't because I was in that much pain. But, like, if I could have, I would. Like, I hated it. Yeah, I got admitted. And one good thing about showing up and them immediately putting you in a wheelchair is you don't have to wait in the waiting room. They go and put you in a bed and give you pain meds, which was so good.
I'm so glad they put you through so fast.
Everyone who worked there that I interacted with was so wonderful and comforting and lovely, and like I didn't once feel like they were being like, oh, you just overreacting a wee bit, you know, like, whereas I feel like that a lot in the New Zealand healthcare system.
Completely.
So yeah, my first interaction was with a nurse, and she just talked to me about what the pain I was feeling was, how bad is it now versus how bad was it when it was at its peak. And so she was like, okay, do you have any allergies to any medications? I was like, no. And she checked with me about 6 times, and then she was like, okay, I'm going to give you endone, which is morphine. As she's handing me the little cup with the pill in it, she's like, pulls it back and is like, you're not allergic to morphine? I was like, I don't think I've ever had it, but like...
But please fucking give that to me
Give me
now.
the morphine! So I got the morphine, and that shit kicked in quick. Thank God for that woman. So yeah, then I was rolling.
She was, can confirm.
Yeah, so basically I was in the emergency department for about 10 hours because my case wasn't like I wasn't dying, you know, I'm not super emergent. They don't need to get me in for any scans or anything straight away. Basically maybe 5 hours in, doctor came in and said, we're going to take you for an x-ray to make sure that it's not a fracture, because if it's a fracture and you're flying tomorrow, you can't fly tomorrow. I was like, wonderful. And so when I got an x-ray, that was fun and chill. He came back a couple of hours later and said, okay, we did an x-ray, we didn't find anything, so we're going to take you for a CT soon. I got really upset at that point because I was high as fuck. And I was like, I think I took a video and was like, they're not going to find anything. Like, there's going to be nothing on the CT. They're just going to send me away and tell me there's nothing wrong. Turns out there was. So they did a CT and they came back about an hour later. And they also did bloods because they were like, we just want to check you for infection markers because if you have an infection, you can't get on a plane. So it didn't have an infection. Yay. And they did a CT and they came back and said, yeah, so your entire sacroiliac / SI joint is inflamed.
Severely.
Yeah, with the swelling being worse on your right hand side, which is where the pain was. Luckily, I haven't had any pain on my left, which is nice because the whole thing's swollen. If you don't know, your sacroiliac joint is basically what joins the bottom of your spine to your pelvis. So it's like, that's why it felt like it was my hip, because it's like they're next to your hips but inward. And yeah, they were basically like, look, we would recommend that you get an MRI and an ultrasound and figure out what's causing this because we don't know why this has happened. The doctor did do the hypermobility test with me and was like, yeah, you're hypermobile, which was very validating because, like, y'all can't see this, but I'm bending my fingers back further than 90 degrees.
She's a bendy girl.
Yeah, and, like, my fingers sublux and my wrists sublux and my kneecap sublux. Like, I'm very clearly hypermobile and I've never been validated by a doctor for that. So that was really nice. But basically they were like, look, you're flying soon. Those other tests, because this is an emergent, are going to take hours and we don't want to keep you in a miserable place like this for longer than we need to. So they said, we're going to give you 10 oxycodone, which really scared me. But I was like, can't raw dog this pain.
Nope.
So yeah, they gave me a bunch of anti-inflammatories and paracetamol and I got to go pick up some Oxy from Chemist Warehouse, which came in like what looked like a VH.
Yeah, like a VHS case.
Yeah.
It was wild.
It was really weird with this like tiny little pill packet inside it. But so yeah, they sent me home and I just continued to take the Oxy and slept a lot that first day once we got back on the second. And then we'd booked to go to Dracula's a couple of days prior that night.
We sure had.
And so I woke up from my Oxy sleep at maybe 1:30 and I was due to take another Oxy, I think at 4. And I was like, Dracula's is so expensive. We're going.
And they have no refunds or
no refunds.
Yeah.
I was like, we're going. I'm not going to take an Oxy because they were making me really, really drowsy. Like, to the point I was like, I'm passing out.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not going to take an Oxy. I'll take all my other meds. So anti-inflammatories, paracetamol. So I've still got a painkiller in my system. I've still got an anti-inflammatory in my system. I'll be fine. I put makeup on. I put a cute little outfit on.
She looks so cute.
We got there. I also left the emergency department with crutches. So I'm on crutches. And as soon as we get there, all of the wonderful, like, scary lingerie Dracula's staff come running over and they're like, what happened, girl?
What
like,
the fuck is wrong with
come
you?
with
Get
me.
the fuck in.
You're not waiting in the line. Get the fuck inside, everyone. Move out the fucking way. Like, it was so lovely. And so we sat down and we got our food brought out. The food was fucking terrible.
Yeah, I can't rate the food from that night. But,
you're not going for the food.
No.
Got some really cool drinks. Luckily, they have really cool mocktails that are just as cool as the cocktails.
Yummy.
And I made it through the first act.
We saw some pole dancing.
Yeah.
We saw some men with pillows on their heads.
Yeah. Saw some singing.
Yeah, we got a bit.
Yeah. And then I had to tap out because I was losing my mind. It was also really cold in there.
It was freezing.
Which was not helping. But I was like, I'm gonna vomit. I'm in so much pain.
I found her in the bathroom and I said, babe, we're leaving.
Time
right
to
now.
go.
Let's go, baby.
So we got an Uber. We
Oh my gosh, with knockoff Richard Gere.
Yeah, which was hysterical because this guy was driving like an Australian and every time he'd like jolt to a stop, I'd be like, I'm gonna die. Because now the Oxy has like fully worn off and I'm in excruciating pain. Yeah, but we got to talk to him about how much of a piece of shit Noah Khan is. And
No, it wasn't Noah Khan. It was Zach Bryan.
Zach Bryan.
I think we like
Sorry, Noah Khan. Oh my god. Sorry, we got to talk about how much of a piece of shit Zach Bryan is because the girls who were in the Uber before us put on Zach Bryan, which fuck. Be an ally.
Choice. And then he tried to gas up the Kid Leroy, and we're like, we're all huge Tate McRae fans. You better
Sports
watch
Car was
yourself.
my top song.
I think you know what this is.
I think you wanna.
You're welcome.
Tune in next week for
Really
our
blind
rendition.
beats.
But yeah, so we got back and I was slowly lowered down onto a chair and fed Oxy.
Yeah, give it
Oxy.
everything. Oxy.
Fed Oxy.
I have a picture of her holding all the stuffed animals we had in the hotel room.
I was
which
holding
think were
Boone
two.
and Dorothy.
Yes, which is stuffed tarantula and
Stuffed Starbucks worker bear.
yes, very important.
And so I don't remember any of the rest of that night.
We put her to bed and off to bed she went.
Yep. And then next morning woke up. We're going home today.
Thank God.
I did wake up in the middle of the night and I woke up at the perfect time for me to take another Oxy. Thank God. It's like my body knew. And yeah, so that day was, my plan for that day was splash in the pool and go for a sauna. Nope. I sat and made Sam put on just the worst YouTube videos to watch while eating.
Oh God, yeah.
Story times about gross shit just because they make me laugh. But I realised that laughing was hurting my hip, so had to turn those off. I don't remember a lot of that day. The airport was awful. It was awful going through the airport on crutches, first of all. Crutches are so exhausting to use. Like, my God, I got a blister on my hand from the airport.
Yeah.
I had airport staff continually come up to me and be like, can I get you a chair? And I was like, I'd rather struggle. Like,
standing was easier than sitting.
it was, because
yeah.
transitioning from sitting to standing and standing to sitting was really, really difficult.
Yeah.
Also, I hated being in a chair so much.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it. But obviously, you can't use crutches at the same time you use a white cane. So I remember going through the first round of security, like the domestic round of security, because you have to go through domestic and then international security, because it's a weirdly laid out airport, the old Gold Coast airport. But first round of security, I put my bags up and I said to the guy behind the conveyor belt, can I go through with my crutches? And he flashed me what I realized afterwards was a thumbs up.
Here we go.
And I kind of looked at him like, what? And he was like, yeah.
And this is when we realised Neve has my disability and not her own, and is treated differently because of it.
Yeah.
People moved quicker for you on crutches than with a cane.
Very quickly.
But then they didn't know that you were visually impaired. So
Which was
then-
really tricky because
Jesus.
I've been using my cane at the airport for the longest time, consistently for years, because that was the one environment where I was like, this is making me less disabled using it here. So it was really, really hard doing that.
And also, you were still in fucking crippling pain.
Yeah, and because of the timing of the flight, I wanted to take my next painkiller once we were on the flight, so it was going to be at an hour to an hour and a half later than I should have taken it, so it was wearing off. So I was in gradually more and more pain.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just an awful, awful experience.
It was.
Luckily, I managed to get into a pretty comfortable position once we were on the flight.
Yeah.
And all the staff were really, really wonderful.
They actually, and this is where we're going to blow your mind. Jetstar were fucking great. I had to go because I'd applied for assistance and you hadn't. So let me tell you, that weirded out the air hostesses.
They all kept looking at both of us being like, wait, why are you in a chair? They got the chair out at one point and then Sam sat down in it and this woman kind of looked at her like, what the fuck are you doing?
I was like, oh no, she's got the crutches, I got the chair.
Yeah.
We're a great pair.
But guess what? I'm also blind. Let me blow your mind.
Oh my god, it was a lot. But like each time they were adaptive and they were really good.
Yeah, they were just a bit lost.
They were just, and
which is totally fair.
How can you possibly make sense of that bizarre situation?
Because I'm also like zonked out, so I'm looking like, whoa.
Oh my god, it was crazy. I had to go to the like oversized luggage counter, which was the accessibility counter, which was first I'm like, oh, this is not a good start, Jetstar. But once I was talking to the woman there, I wanted to make a note of her name, didn't name drop her because she was great, but she was lovely. And then she was like, are you traveling with people? I said, yeah, those are my friends. She said, do you want me to move them and they can sit with you? And I was like, holy fuck, yes. And then I could also explain your crutch situation and we can check some stuff that way. And she was great. The staff, aside from thumbs up guy, although I guess he didn't know that you were
he didn't know. Yeah, like that is a totally fine thing to do.
Yeah,
I guess.
But for the most part, they were great, and I would go as far as saying better than Air New Zealand.
Yeah.
In my experience, the thing that pushed them over the edge for me was when we were in the cabin sitting down, we were approached by one or two air hostesses that just said, here's the situation if we have an evacuation. What do we need to know about your needs if something happens? And I was like, holy shit, that's how easy it is. And that is what you need to ask. That's actually all you need to ask.
Yeah, because I was like, I just basically got to say like, look, I'm visually impaired, but I can follow a crowd and I'm in a searing amount of pain, but I'm about to drop an oxy. So I can run if I need to.
Yeah, totally.
So,
and then I said, in an emergency, I'll fucking make it work, but I can't really do stairs. And she was like, sick, amazing. And like with Air New Zealand, I've very rarely had an interaction on the cabin itself. It's before or after, which often means there's a wheelchair not waiting for me when I get there.
Yeah.
Miscommunication, like the cabin crew knew and they asked, and 10 out of 10 for a horrible situation in so many ways. I did feel like we were supported.
Yeah, and
which
even
was so cool.
Because I didn't request a wheelchair once everyone had been clued in to board the plane, but I guess the ladies on that end had contacted the people on the other end in our hometown.
They did that without you asking, eh?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I forgot that.
They were like...
That's actually fucking great of them. I forgot that.
They had 2 wheelchairs ready for us, and I was like, no, I'm fine. And I can't remember what this person even looked like, but this person just kind of looked at me and went, sit down.
And I think it was like, you're gonna need it.
Yeah,
like, there's gonna be
it's a long way because getting
yeah.
back into New Zealand is a nightmare because biosecurity. So yeah, I'm so glad I was in a chair.
Yeah.
It was also like 1 a.m.
It was
New Zealand time by the time we got back. So yeah,
and that's also part of what that service should be. They know the airport, we don't. They see what your needs are. They should be able to meet your needs with the knowledge they have that we lack.
Yep.
Like, very good.
That's what accessibility looks like.
Data, would fly Jetstar again. My God.
Yeah, honestly.
Wowee.
Yeah.
Apart
But
from the
so
food situation.
I was in a wheelchair for a little bit there.
So welcome to our podcast, Wheelie Wheelie.
Wheelie blind.
My God. So how are you feeling now, Nevs? We still have our crutches from the Gold Coast here in our Airbnb.
Yeah, so it's now 2 weeks later, just over 2 weeks later. And I am feeling almost 100% better, which is really, really nice because for a while there it improved and then it got worse again.
It was fucking scary and horrible.
But yeah, now I only got given 10 oxy. And so I finished the oxy on the Monday, which was a relief because I don't like that shit. Mm-mm. That was awful. And then I saw my doctor the next day and she was like, okay, I don't want to give you more opioids. I was like, I don't want more opioids. I'm very scared of addiction. So she was like, okay, I'm going to give you the next worst thing. Benzos, because they're a muscle relaxant, and that was actually the right call. She gave me very, very low dose diazepam, and the muscle relaxant actually helped a lot more than the oxy was. I understand why I was on the oxy though, because that was like the peak of my pain, and it would have been a lot worse if I didn't have it. But for the stage I was at, the benzos were the right thing.
Totally.
I was on those, kind of started with taking them quite consistently throughout the day for maybe 5 days and then slowly tapered off because I wasn't finding that I needed them all the time. I was more just using them to sleep, and then had my last one of those 5 days ago, and I've just been on a strong anti-inflammatory and paracetamol since then, and it's been steadily improving, and I can now walk around pain-free without my crutches. The pain coming on is very random. There's no like particular position that I can avoid to stop it happening. It just sometimes comes on because there's clearly still some inflammation there. But the update is the New Zealand healthcare system fucking sucks. I'm so sorry. I love my doctor so much as a person, but like, what the fuck? She said that she was gonna look at my notes for like my discharge from the ED, because I forgot to bring it with me because I was loopy in pain. Sent it to her as soon as I got home, and she was like, yeah, we want to check you for arthritis, and then I want to talk to orthopedics. I haven't heard a single thing. That was nearly 2 weeks ago. So
Welcome home.
Very disappointed. Kind of want to fly back to Australia and just get them to give me some answers, but is what it is, I guess. So probably going to start looking into specialists, because I still don't know why this happened.
We suspect you taking up running and the whiplashy throwing around of the roller coasters, potentially.
I think it has something to do with hypermobility.
Yeah.
Because I can feel a lot of clunking going around in that joint.
Yeah.
And that joint isn't really supposed to clunk.
No, girl.
So, yeah. I think it's a combination of a lot of stuff. But we might be completely wrong, and it might be something completely different. Might just be arthritis. So, fingers crossed it's not.
Does it feel like broken glass in your joint? That's the arthritis metaphor.
I don't know.
Of.
I don't know. I wouldn't really know how to explain the
I'm
pain.
just going to decide that it's not.
Yeah, I don't
We're
think
just
it
gonna
is.
decide it isn't, because you don't want to have to deal with that at 27.
But yeah, so that was that. And moving on. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. She's doing so much better. You are doing so much better, and
I feel like a person again.
It was so fucking scary. It was so scary. We delivered you dessert the other day, and it was the first time I'd seen you upright without crutches in 2+ weeks.
And I made it like standing. I was standing for maybe 2 minutes, and I was leaning against the wall for maybe another 3, and then I had to be like, right, I gotta go sit down.
But that was such a relief to be like, okay, this hell will end.
Yeah. And it feels like it's ending. So,
it does.
thank
Just
God.
before we started recording this, you said for the first time ever, for the first time since it happened, I think we're making real progress.
Yeah,
So.
like got up off the couch, walked to the bathroom, came back from the bathroom, only felt a little twinge when I was sitting back
all
down.
of your healing vibes.
Thank you.
Please. Yeah.
I mean, by the time this comes out, it will all be over. Please,
Look out, crystal ball.
please.
Right, we have a new segment, woo, which we are going to end every episode with this year.
TriWeekly BiWheely Roundup. Boop. We have a segment.
Which is where we just share fun, silly little anecdotes with you from
about our lives.
from the last 3 weeks.
Get
or
to know us.
Things that are happening that are not disability related.
Yeah,
because
they're just us related.
disability is actually like not all our entire existence.
This is about us.
Days go past where we don't think about our disabilities at all. So,
Truly.
Neve, tell me your TriWeekly BiWheely updates.
Okay, so one of my New Year's resolutions was to get into Lego because I'm a weirdo. And then I was on bed rest for the first 2.5 weeks of 2026, so that worked out really, really well. Not so well for my other one, which was get into running, but we'll revisit that later.
We'll park her.
Get into Lego. Boy, have I. I don't want to even think about how much money I've spent on Lego. But I will say it was such a good coping mechanism because it kept me really, really distracted. The last 2 weeks have been really, really hard mentally. I've never been injured like this ever. And so it was really, really hard to deal with. But tell you what, Lego came to the party. I have now built 3 full Lego sets. I'm halfway through another, and another one's arriving on Monday. Like, we're in it now. I've already run out of room to store them, to display them. But it's been so cool. I've done 3 Super Mario ones. I've got the other one coming on Monday, and I'm doing the Pixar lamp with the ball currently.
So fun.
So whimsical and silly and stupid. And I'm pretty sure one of my cats ate a Lego brick.
Oh my god.
I tried to get it out of his mouth, and he went,
Duck or Horace?
Horace.
I thought it would have been Duck.
No, it was Horace. I accidentally spilt a bunch, and so I was carrying them up, like picking them up, and he picked up one of the round ones in his mouth, and I started like going cut, cut, cut.
Oh,
and I
no.
went like, Horace, no. And he went like, clamped his jaw and kind of looked at me. And I was like, okay, it doesn't have sharp edges.
It'll go straight through.
It's not like a square one that's like kind of sharp on the edges. It was a round one. So
It's in the litter box somewhere now.
it just looks like litter now. So congrats to Horace for joining the party of the Lego.
My hard launch for 2026 is that I'm into bandanas. Hi.
We love
Silky hair scarves, where it's at, cannot speak enough to how it elevates an outfit if I've washed my hair, or how it hides my dirty ass hair if I'm trying to extend those wash days.
Hell yeah.
They're silky.
I'm
They're
so in.
silly. I'm embracing my 70s aesthetic. You guys can't see this, but let me tell you, I'm wearing it nearly every day.
It's great.
Thank you so much.
It's great. Almost every time I've seen her
Truly.
since the new year, since we got back from Australia, she's been in a bandana.
I have. It's
wonderful.
It's where it's at. I also had a New Year's resolution to get better at charcuterie, so I'll keep you all updated on that one.
But she's off to a good start.
It's been okay so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really,
It's
really
actually,
good.
turns out it's a very expensive hobby.
Yes.
To feed people.
Yes.
But it does make me
Cheese is
feel very
expensive.
good. It is. She's expensive.
Yep.
But I am pescatarian, so it saves money on the meat. But
True.
then I compensate with the cheese and then...
Then suddenly
Really
you spend $45 on blue.
Exactly. Do we want to do our thoughts on Stranger Things? We watched the entire last season together.
The tie-in here is we were planning to watch it that night of the first after the bats. And I lay down on the floor. I was like, give me 15 minutes, fam, and then we can watch it. And then it was like...
Sorry, give me 10 hours.
Yeah. And then we can't watch it because I'm not going to remember it because I'm loopy on Oxy. So, yeah, we did watch it when we returned a couple of days after, once I was just on Valium.
Yes.
And... Come on, guys!
Spoiler.
Spoilers,
Heads up.
spoilers.
I don't know why. Why didn't they have Will's reveal at the end? That reveal is the best of the entire series, I honestly think.
Yeah.
And for them to put that at the end of Volume 1,
Mm-hmm.
it just meant Volume 2 was never going to meet it.
No. Like, there was no tension in
No.
Volume 2.
Production design, costuming, set,
Acting.
beautiful, incredible. We're not quite on board with what happened with the writing there. We're just
No.
not quite there.
No. And so many plot holes. So
babe.
many things
Too
unanswered.
much.
Like, yeah. I'm a little bit gutted because I feel like we grew up with it.
It's a really important part of the media landscape of the last 10 years.
Yeah. And now it's just over with so many unanswered questions. And yeah.
I loved the coming of age aspect of it. You didn't. That's not your kind of thing, right?
No. But Stranger Things is the only thing that's made me like that genre.
They do it well, and that
do.
was, I think, to their credit at the end. That last scene, I was sobbing like a baby. I do just wish there was a bit more there. But I'm still a ride or die Stranger Things.
Me too. I bawled my eyes out when Will
You
came
and I
out.
were choking.
Yeah, I thought it wasn't the best coming out of the series. That was Robin's.
Obviously.
But yeah, I just loved seeing a coming out. I thought it was written really, really well. I love that he didn't say I'm gay. He said I don't like girls because that felt way more accurate for what someone would have said in the 80s.
Yeah.
I thought it was so beautiful, and just everyone's reaction. I'm getting chills. I'm gonna
me
cry.
too, me too.
It was because I was worried
Yeah. Yeah.
that they were going to have someone have a problem with it, especially Mike.
Yeah, Mike. And it probably was an idealized situation, but I'm really glad they gave their queer audience a safe space to have Will come out, to have the reaction that I'm sure a lot of queer people want.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Murray was there. Who knows why? I don't know.
It needed the whole
He's
crew.
part of it.
But yeah, I thought it was really lovely. Hated that 8/Collie. Was that her name?
I think it's Callie, but Carly.
Carly.
It's their weird accent.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
8.
Yeah.
Hated
no.
that she came back.
Yeah, no, not why. Girl,
Terrible,
what are we
unnecessary
doing?
character.
What are we doing? Noah Schnapp was fucking hot in this season, by the way. Did not expect that from him.
Yeah, no, he was looking pretty
He
fun.
is so good. So proud of you, Noah. Loved it.
Vecna, can't fault you. But yeah, I still love it. I'm currently rewatching from the start.
Nice.
and I still love it.
It's what it is.
Becoming it's now that it's finished, it can become like a rewatch comfort show, which I'm really excited about.
Completely.
So, yeah, even though it was a little bit disappointing in the end, I'm still.
I don't think it discounts the rest of it. It wasn't so bad that it's like, oh, we have to.
It ruined it.
Like,
yeah.
It didn't ruin it. It just wasn't amazing.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. But yeah, those are our thoughts. That was.
Thank you for joining us.
The TriWeekly BiWheely.
TriWeekly.
That was the
BiWheely Roundup.
I can't say it very well. We'll practice.
We'll practice.
TriWeekly BiWheely Roundup. Boop. Boop. Okay, so thank you for tuning into season 2, Ep 1.
Thank you so much. We said last episode that we're going to do the annoying thing, the annoying Shane Dawson thing.
Yeah.
So we are so sorry to be those people, but please
here it comes.
Subscribe and like and share if you fancy. If you don't fancy,
don't do it.
Absolutely don't do that.
Don't.
But if you do, that'd be so good because we actually want to do some things with this platform.
Yeah.
So help us do it. Tell your friends. Tell your brother. Tell your dog.
Tell everyone.
Tell everyone.
And we love you, and we'll see you in 3 weeks.
We love you so much. We'll see you in 3 weeks. Goodbye.
Bye.